So it's that time of year again. Perhaps you're making a New Year's resolution to lose some weight. Maybe it's not even a resolution, but you know what? It's just time to get back after it again. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But most people who go into this journey end up failing. It's like 90% of people end up giving up on their goals. And I want to make sure that's not you. But the problem is most of the time you're only looking for what kind of food should I eat? How many calories should I eat? How frequently should I exercise? And all these things, which I'm not saying these things don't matter. Of course they do. And I actually have a video that covers pretty much everything you could need to know. And I'll hand you off to that at the end of this video. But all that stuff is only a small portion of what really matters when it comes to producing lasting results. So in this video, I want to talk about things that almost nobody else is ever covering that are going to make a much bigger difference in not only your results, but your overall happiness. And one of the most important things you can possibly do is make sure you don't hang on to a previous version of yourself. So to get the results you want, to become the person you want to be, you have to change your habits and behaviors. And how can you possibly do that if you're not willing to become a new person? So as much as I know you want to lose weight and get in better shape, you're going to be so much better off if you focus less on losing the weight and more on losing the habits that put the weight on to begin with. And that includes not going back to what you've always done in the past. Maybe you're like a lot of people and you go back every single year and you do the same kind of a diet and you do the same program and you lose some weight, you end up giving up, you gain it all back, probably even more, and then you start the same thing again the next year and you just keep repeating this year after year, basically either not making any change or getting even bigger and bigger. So if for the last 5 years in January you started a keto diet, by God, please don't start a keto diet this year. It's clearly not working. It's time for something else, and you need to look at the bigger picture. You can't just look at what am I going to do to get this weight off without any thoughts into how you're going to keep it off. This is why I always say it has to be a lifestyle, because it does. You can't change something temporarily and expect permanent results. Which, speaking of results, one of the things that is killing you, not only your long-term results, but your overall mood, your happiness, and your quality of life, is getting too caught up in the speed of your result. You need to spend less time worrying about how fast it's going and more time focusing on the process itself and learning to enjoy it. I'm telling you, I see such a high correlation in people who don't get too worried about how fast the process is working and how good the results are in the long run. If you get too focused on the speed of your result, you're much more likely to get frustrated, to feel disappointed, to feel like it's not worth the effort, to talk yourself out of doing what you need to do because it's not living up to your expectations. It's just nothing good comes from it. It doesn't mean it's impossible to see fast results, especially if you have a strong enough why. I can really only think of one person I know who saw dramatically fast results and has been able to keep that weight off in the long run. It's my buddy back in Minnesota. His name is Seneca. I actually knew him at the gym for like a year and didn't even know he had lost a lot of weight. I just saw this guy in the gym constantly just busting his ass and just had such a great attitude, great work ethic, and he was just all about it. And then I found out down the road that he had lost 200 pounds in 9 months, which is just like unfathomable. And while some people do that, almost everyone who sees big results like that, even half of that, end up gaining it back because it's just this mad dash to the finish line and then just going back to the way things were. Well, his big thing was he had a strong why. He was morbidly obese, he had just had a child, and he was like, you know what? I need to be around for my child. I need to set a good example for him so he doesn't end up the way I am. And it just like something clicked and it was like, it's over. I'm done. I'm doing this and there's no turning back. And it's been, I don't even know, probably 10, 12 years since I even know him. And it was before that. He's kept it off this whole time. That's one person. Of everyone I know, one person has done that. So what I'm saying is, find a strong why, a reason you need to do this, a reason you can't give up no matter what. Something that's very strong and powerful and meaningful to you, whatever that may be. It can be different for everybody. For me, it's always about the fear of regret. I hate regret and I don't want to regret things later in life. So anytime I get caught up in things, I just go, okay, will I regret stopping or whatever else? That works well for me. It may not do anything for you, but you got to find what that is. Because I promise you, just feeling like, well, I just want to lose a little weight, or I just, don't want to feel so fat, probably not going to be a good enough thing. It might be big enough for you to start. When things get inevitably difficult and feel like it's not worth the effort, it's probably not enough to keep pushing through. So search for your why. Anyways, speaking of the speed of your result, along the same lines, one of the biggest things that's killing your efforts is going too hard, too fast, and running yourself into the ground. I like to use the analogy of sprinting versus running longer races, whether that's like a 10K or a marathon or whatever else. In a short sprint, you can go 100% and be fine, right? You can go all the way through giving this total effort. Well, you can't do that in a longer race. You can't give 100% and expect to make it through an entire marathon. There's no way. So even on like a 5K, maybe you're giving 80% effort, whatever it may be, you can't go 100%. Well, it works very much the same way with your fat loss goals. You can only go 100% for so long. And so many people, maybe this is you, fall into this all or nothing perfectionist mentality. I have to be 100% perfect or there's no point at all. So sure, you can start and you can give 100% for a while, but what inevitably ends up happening? You crash and burn and you end up starting over and over. And the problem with going too hard is not only do you run yourself into the ground, you're gonna get way less food, you're gonna be more hungry, you're gonna be more tired, you're gonna be more irritable, but you also slow your metabolism down much faster. You have to understand, anytime you go into a calorie deficit and you're losing body fat, you're gonna see some hormonal and metabolic changes. Your body's doing its job by adapting down to this to make sure that you basically don't starve yourself to death. Because if you think about it, if you just lost weight eating the same amount all the time and it never ended, well, if there was a shortage of food or whatever, like back in the early days, if you didn't even know where your next meal was coming from, as soon as you didn't have food for a while, you just immediately starved to death. So your body has to make some changes so you don't keep losing weight so easily, because your body doesn't care about looking good naked, it cares about survival. So if you crash diet hard, yeah, you'll lose weight quickly in the beginning, but then your body adapts. Now you can't see progress anymore. You're already barely eating. You're already doing tons of exercise. There's no room to make any kinds of adjustments. You can't lose anymore. You get frustrated, end up saying, screw it, it's not worth it. You were probably being overly restrictive. You end up overeating like crazy, but now doing so with a slow metabolism, the weight comes back on 10 times faster than it came off. And then you panic and go, crap, I just undid everything. Try to diet again. Your body hasn't had time to adapt to the higher calories yet. You still can't lose. You get frustrated again, and it's just a vicious cycle. So you're so much better off taking your time, being patient, understand you've got to do this for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter how fast it is if you literally have to do it forever. And as soon as you accept that reality, there's no done. There's next, there's other goals you can have. It doesn't mean barely even eating and just crushing yourself all the time, but it does mean you always have to regularly exercise and monitor your nutrition in some form, and accept you cannot go back to your old habits. One of the most common things I see in my clients who end up with good success, it's the mentality they have going in. It's not about, I need to lose as fast as possible. It's not about, I need to do things my way. It's usually, I've tried things my way for so long, it's clearly not working. I need your help. And they basically just say, I'm gonna let go, just tell me what to do, and I'm gonna do it. I don't care if that means I'm gonna reverse diet for months or even years. I don't care what it means. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And whatever happens is gonna happen. And it's just like, once you do that, all the like stress and anxiety and feeling that burden of, is it fast enough? Am I doing enough? Is the result worth the effort that I'm giving? All that stuff, it just goes away. Now that burden's on my shoulders. I just interpret everything, tell them what to do, and now they don't have to worry about it anymore, because that's my responsibility, not you, the client. And something I see so often when people get started is, well, I want to try it on my own first, and then they just screw everything up, right? Like they do this crash diet, they do a bunch of really suboptimal things that put them in a much worse place. And then when they finally reach out down the road, now they're in a much worse place, and now we've got to take our time to fix that before getting going again. So if you're worried about that, if that's something you struggled with in the past, if you could use some extra accountability, let's start off on the right foot this year. Fill out an application for online coaching. I'll shoot a video going over things and email you back, and we'll see if it makes sense. Anyways, another thing that could be keeping you from getting where you want to be, and it was why you end up giving up every year, is you're eliminating all your favorite foods. You're looking at foods as either good and you can have them, or bad and you shouldn't have them. As soon as you label something as bad, if you do have it, you feel guilty about it. You may beat yourself up about it. You may feel like, well, I have to get it all in now because my diet starts again tomorrow, and you just go through this binge restrict mentality. A healthy relationship with food is such an imperative part of not only seeing the results you want that you can keep, but also just your quality of life, your overall happiness. So much like I mentioned about pace, you can't go 100% all the time. Feeling like you need to be 100% perfect with your diet is very much the same way. You're much better off being like 80% on your diet most of the time than you are being 100% on your diet like 50% of the time. It's not about perfection, it's about balance. Now, all that being said, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be hard. You don't have to make it harder than it needs to be, but you also have to embrace that just because it's hard doesn't mean it's a bad thing either. In fact, I argue that makes it a good thing, because the things in life that are hard, they have the reward on the other side. Everything in life worth having is not going to be easy. Everything. I mean, if you think about anything in your life that you're proud of, that build any kind of confidence, I guarantee you, whatever those things are, they didn't come easy. Whether it was graduating from college, or getting a PhD, or getting a big promotion at your job, or physical accomplishments, anything, they're all hard. So stop running away from hard and chasing easy when everything you want is on the side of hard. And as long as you vow to never give up no matter what, you're gonna get there. Like, I can almost promise it. I can't promise how fast. It may take much longer than you think it should, but you will get there. But you can't keep giving up every time it gets difficult. All right, now that I have all that out of the way, yes, how to lose weight certainly still matters. How many calories you eat, how to make adjustments, all that. I already have a video that covers all that in great detail, and it will walk you through everything you need to know. So check out that top video next if you're looking for more guidance on how to lose weight. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in one of those other videos.